2 catteries, and then we have a kitten room for teenagers and kittens. We have about an average of 12 cats in each cattery. This is handsome, sweet Bugsy. There are several reasons why cats are sometimes surrendered to ARF. You know, we get our animals in a variety of ways. We rescue animals that are homeless or that are strays or that were neglected, or in various ways we hear about animals in need of a temporary home before we hopefully adopt them out to a permanent home. But we will provide a permanent home for them. And ARF's a no-kill shelter, so however long it takes for them to get adopted, they can live here. This is Pounce over here. She was on the estate of a musician who lived out here. I think he had Bengals or some exotic wild cats that didn't really want Pounce around, unfortunately. So she's here. Woo-woo, very sweet, shy boy. He was a feral cat, meaning he was born in the wild and didn't have much contact with people, was not sufficiently socialized. So he spent most of his time hiding for a long time. But now he's out, and he's still a little, he's on the timid side. So we're going to go into the right cattery. Here's Eloise. She's a very outgoing, friendly little girl. She's actually adopted. She's going to be picked up tomorrow. It seems like she probably had a home because she's so well-adjusted and friendly. This is for our visitors who come to ARF. And this contains a profile of all the cats that live in this room. And in alphabetical order, we have a profile on each cat, which tells a little bit about them, when they arrived at ARF, how old they are approximately, how they came here, if we know that. This is Toast. Oh, it says she was abandoned at the ocean. A lot of cats come to us because they were abandoned in various places. It says that they were found as a stray. You know, that can mean that they were a feral cat, meaning they were born in the wild, you know, not socialized with humans. Or it can just mean that they are temporarily homeless, and either previously had a home. Here is Morris. He's a beautiful buff-colored, handsome boy. I get to know the guys really well that have been here for a while, but hopefully what happens is they don't stay very long and they get adopted fast. Let's look up Morris. Let's see. Just says as a stray, so that means we don't really know too much. Normally we have a waiting list to get into ARF. We can't take in all the cats that need homes because there are unfortunately so many of them, but if people just bring a cat into us, it's hard for us to turn them away. That's Velvet over there. Isn't she beautiful? Velvet is an example of one of the cats whose owners died. There was nobody in the family who wanted to take on the responsibility of caring for her. Even though we take great care of them here, it can be very hard on the cat. They miss their owner. They're used to having a home. And that's also why it's important, you know, to take into consideration if you're thinking about adopting. The age of the cat that you adopt may sound a little bit harsh, but just to be realistic, if you're an older person, you might want to adopt, you know, an older cat, or at least a middle-aged cat. So it's really important to think about plans for your cat, you know, if something should happen to you. Of course, we never know what can happen to any of us, so that's a good idea to make plans for your animals anyway, regardless of how old you are. You might not want to get a kitten unless you have, of course, made plans for that kitten. Hey, Morris. He has kind of like these big tomcat cheeks. Sometimes happens when boys are not neutered until they're a little bit older. They develop those secondary sex characteristics. So he's got these great big fluffy cheeks. That's Rudy. This beautiful Rudy. Oh, a little shy. He's a little shy. What a beautiful boy. Cats that start out so shy sometimes if they were stray or feral, and they really blossom just with time, and we're lucky to have a lot of volunteers and visitors. They get more and more familiar with people, and they come out of their shell. Binks was a feral cat. He's coming around amazingly. He can be very social and friendly. He'll like get scared out of the blue and run away, but he's made a lot of progress. He's what you'd call a tuxedo cat. Looks like he's wearing a tuxedo. More outgoing, sociable cats get adopted first because people prefer a friendly cat to a more shy one. Being in the rooms is hard on the cats, and there are cats that seem, you know, in here that seem to be on the shy side that once adopted would really blossom in a home. There's some cats that would rather be just a quiet companion to, you know, in a more quiet household. Maybe just a couple or a single person or an elderly person, and would rather not be chased by little, by little screaming children trying to pull their tails. Anybody over a year is an adult. In these two categories, we have cats from about a year and a half. Probably the oldest cat we have is maybe around 11 or so. And they make such wonderful companions. They're easier than kittens. They won't necessarily keep you up all night, even though they can be extremely affectionate and sleep on your head and stuff like that. But they're wonderful companions. This is Claudia. She's another one of the young moms. She's a little shy. It's a little bit much with all these other cats for her. She's doing well, but she's used to being in a smaller room just with her kittens. Another really nice thing about adults is that they are calmer and more mellow than kittens. Here's Spice. He's a lot of fun. He's real ham. He loves it when people come in. He plays with all the kids. He's a tough guy. He's probably the alpha, the top cat in this room. People who have cats know how distinctive their personalities are. I have 3, and they are completely different. They're as different as, you know, children would be, truly, in personality. There's no such thing as the generic cat. There's a lot of people that don't really know cats very well, that they're very aloof, cold, unaffectionate, unemotional. It is true that cats can be very independent, which I think can be a great quality, because you can have the privilege and the benefit of a wonderful companion and also be able to go away for a weekend and your cat can take care of himself, really, as long as you leave dry food out and water. As long as they have food, water, and litter box, you can leave your cat for a couple of days. We don't have any little babies at the moment because it's not kitten season, which starts in the spring. We call them teenagers. They're between like 5, 6 months and a year. So they're little, but they're not tiny babies. This is June and Grace, and they're probably, 7 months. Hi, Jack. He's on his own terms. He doesn't like you to come to him and pick him up, but if you sit down, he's usually all over you. And this is Dixie. These are our adolescents. All of our cats here that are up for adoption are spayed or neutered. Spayed if they're girls, of course, and neutered if they're boys. Actually, we've made that, mandatory, that nobody leaves ARF until they are spayed or neutered, because there's a huge number of homeless cats out there. Sometimes people are well-intentioned and they will say that they're going to spay or neuter, and they don't, or they decide, it would be nice to have their cats have kittens. Millions of healthy cats and dogs that have to be euthanized every year because they can't be taken care of. There aren't enough homes. It's imperative that we do that here so that we don't perpetuate that problem. Hi, Jack. I love you. They all are wonderful. They're just not all as affectionate right away as Jack is. We very much encourage you to adopt 2 kittens. Often we have groups of siblings or just roommates who have been sharing a cage together. They provide constant, companionship for each other, and they have one another when their people goes away for a weekend or a trip or goes to work during the day. They have each other. There's a program that ARF takes part in called Operation Cat. The volunteers, including some of our staff, provide food and outdoor shelter with the help of a lot of volunteers. Trap the cats, bring them to local vets, and we have a part-time vet at ARF, Dr. Dorothy Walker, and she spays and neuters cats that come into our care, along with caring for the residents at ARF, or the ARFans, as they are called sometimes. It's the responsible thing to do, because there's just too much suffering for those that are out there and have to fend for themselves. Come on. Pretty good. That was pretty good.
I was thinking of adopting another cat. How do I introduce another cat to Toby?
When Sylvester first came to live with Tobias and me, Sylvester was a kitten and he was very playful and very frisky. There was a little tension in the house because they were both males. So males are much more territorial than females. You have to spend a few days just kind of keeping them separated a little bit and watching them and making sure that the older cat doesn't do anything that could actually hurt the little cat. So Tobias would be kind of minding his own business, but his tail would be wagging. Of course, the little kitten just thought this was an invitation to play. And, immediately, that was the first thing that happened. Sylvester just went for the tail. And, of course, Tobias got pretty upset about that. And then it just became a joke after a while, because when Tobias realized that, Sylvester was just a kitten and playing with him, he would let him jump on his tail. But, he would actually attack his tail, jump on it, and bite it.
It's very normal when you introduce a new cat for there to be a period of stress and tension. In that case, you'll separate them for a little while, ideally. We make sure they have a clean bill of health, get updated on all their vaccinations, and make sure they're dewormed, and make sure they're okay to go and intermingle with the other cats. It's normal that they will hide in the beginning. Somehow, the cats always manage to find their own little part of the room. It's amazing. They really, for the most part, there is harmony here, as you can see. They work it out amongst themselves. If they fight occasionally with their brother or sister or friend, that's completely normal. Nobody's gotten badly hurt. That's a good thing. For my cats, it took maybe a couple of weeks with each new cat. And then they're sleeping together and grooming each other, and mostly they're much happier to have a friend. Usually it takes from a few days to a few weeks. If the cat is miserable 24 hours a day and won't eat and is showing all kinds of signs of being very stressed, crouched up in a corner, and their eyes are dilated and they're in that don't come near me mode, then you don't want to do it. Some cats cohabitate and ignore each other pretty much, or keep to their own part of the house, and can live together that way and occasionally interact. More often they're closer than that, but sometimes they just peacefully but yet separately live together. And then there are the cases where the cat just should be the only cat. I've started out a little bit overwhelmed when I first started working here. There are all these cats that need homes, and oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. But I've been here a little over 2 years, and with patience over time, you see that they really do get adopted. It's just a matter of time of pairing the right person with the right cat. This is Aquarius. She hasn't been here very long, but we're surprised that she's still here because she's so beautiful and because she is affectionate and really nice with people. It's so odd to find, a partially, either a purebred or a cat that looks like a certain breed, that it's rare that it's just going to be found in the wild wandering around, given up, abandoned, or they got away and nobody bothered or cared enough to try to find them. She's definitely part Maine Coon, and her face to me, it looks a little Himalayan, a little bit flattened, and those big eyes. When she first came in, she was put in an open room like the ones we were in with other cats, and she made it clear, right, that she needs to be, she needs all the attention. She growled at the cats, she hissed at the cats, she swatted at the cats. When she was loose in the kitten room, it seemed to be a little bit stressful for her. She was showing signs of stress, she was pacing, now she's gonna hide, that she wasn't quite happy in there. Let's go back in the office and maybe she'll settle down. She's beautiful calico markings. I think it's extremely therapeutic to just go and sit in one of the catteries. And that's the best way to be with cats anyway, is to just sit and be still and quiet, and then they come out. They come out of the woodwork and come to you. It's not really, cats don't like to be chased, and they just come right out if you're just quiet. And it's so soothing. Documentation and studies done about the health benefits to people of having pets, cats and dogs and all pets. When you pet an animal, your blood pressure goes down, and right, your blood pressure, your heart rate, it just has a very beneficial to both. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. But we're going to start doing some pet therapy again, some nursing homes or child care facilities or adults with various disabilities, seniors, and they love it, and we love it, and the animals usually love it. We choose animals that love it. I think she looks like a Matisse painting.